This is my Alchemy of Memory journal from November, the class with Jack Ravi. I thought I would finish it and put a cover on, didn't really do that, but I really enjoyed playing with photos. I had never really done that before, incorporated photos into art. I also really loved making sigil stamps that you can see throughout here. You see a few of them on this page. The photo weaving, this was just such a fun way to incorporate so many different elements. I had never done any dyeing before, so there's rust dyed pages, there's stitching. I found some old stamps that I had sitting around for decades, used old book pages. Um, yeah, overall, just a really fun project that got me thinking about using things like photos in new ways and making my own stamps. I sort of checked out of Fodder school in December, but in January, I really enjoyed Liz Constable's lessons for the ever evolving Fodder journal. Um, we used large pieces of paper, large maps. Some of this I think I just used newsprint, but it was really fun to dig out, find some old maps and charts and play with the paper in a lot of different ways. And we created these books. I was really happy with the colors in mine, the use of stamping and stenciling and sandpaper, having large text become just sort of a partial element in the page. I also reused some of my sigil stamps from Jack Ravi's lessons. You see some Megan Quinlan stencils in here. Overall, this month just felt like so much fun playing around, creating these journals. I know the idea was to create these journals that you would rip pieces of fodder out. I certainly haven't done that, but I do have some pages left over that didn't go into the journal that I will use for other things. Yeah, overall, I just really enjoyed the process of making this book. This was definitely one of those find flow states. In February, Angela Kennedy taught us these lessons about paper dolls. I'm definitely someone who would have fallen into the category of saying I absolutely cannot draw faces, but these lessons just made it so accessible. I also really enjoyed the process for making the backgrounds, using some words from book pages for some found poetry. So really fun lesson. The March lessons with Lisa Young, all about altered tea bags, were super fun. I had never used tea bags in art before, so this was my first mini journal that was just sort of a test of the material. You can see that sort of brownish beige color is the tea bags. Did some incorporated some other elements. For my second tea bag journal, I used the whole tea bags in the sort of long skinny formation, made a little band to go around the bag, and so this book was really more about the idea of tea bags themselves, which was really fun. I had never used, watercolor ground, which was a really fun way to prep the material and do some both painting and doodling on top of the tea bags. So this one I was really happy with. Fun to play with. And then I did a third one where I incorporated some color photocopies of some of the faces that I had drawn in the previous month. So you see that here on the back. Those are all just color copies of the faces that I had drawn in Angela Kennedy's lessons the previous month. April was our fodder swap month, so Tracy Wozniak led us through some great lessons about making these art tags. And so in addition to painterly sheets, there was some stitching with little scraps, some stenciling, super fun. Those were just the ones I had left over. Also got a lot of great ones in the mail. All right, in May, Megan Quinlan led us on this fodder sampler flipbook journal. I was really happy with how mine came out. I didn't have a ton of time in May. This was a fun project that came together fairly quickly. It was a different approach, part of the lesson, different approach to drawing faces. So you see some of those faces using Megan's instructions, which was great to sort of have that face drawing reinforcement. Used some watercolor bits. There was a lot of fun lessons about making some quick watercolor bits that can be used in these journals, and just having all the different ways that they can, different bits that can come together. It was really fun. The June lessons with Stephanie Lee were really cool because I had never used encaustic medium before. So this is just an old sunglasses box. It's kind of hard to see on the video, but in addition to the paper collaging, there's this lovely sort of matte finish wax on the top, which is the encaustic media. Sorry, the video is not great here. This is the lid of a shoebox. So the box that this goes on is just a black shoebox, but the lessons of the month did a great job in working, leading us to making these really beautiful boxes. So this was an old cigar box that I found at the thrift store that I also covered in encaustic medium and the collaging. And finally, the last box that I did, this was an old whiskey box that I had been keeping for just because it was a nice wooden box, and so I collaged the top and again put the encaustic medium on the top. Not sure what I'm going to put in it, but I'm just super happy with how these boxes came out. In July with Rebecca Chapman, we made another book. This one, another one, I thought I was going to come back and finish the cover. What was so cool about this month was coming back to using photos, but using them in really interesting ways. Painting on them, using them to make prints, and then using the photos, the prints, all the different things, jelly plates to come together to make these books. I didn't actually love how my book came out, but I really enjoyed the process from that month. In August, Carrie Smith led us through lessons about travel-inspired greeting cards. Spent so much time making circles. It was a really meditative flow state process. We jelly printed to make the backgrounds of our cards and decorate the envelopes. We layered our circles. We made tiny circles, big circles, circles in so many different ways. And I had fun cutting circles by hand, using punches, using a lot of different things to make the circles. This was one of those projects that I wasn't sure that I was going to enjoy it when I first saw the description, but it ended up just being so much fun and so engrossing. And I've already sent out some of the cards, so these are the ones that I happen to have left at this point. And finally, the September lessons with Amanda Trout definitely felt like ending Fodder School on a real high note. These are my fabric wall hangings. We took fabric and painted and stamped and stenciled and stitched, and I was so happy with how these came out. I really enjoyed the process. Thinking about fabric, sort of like paper for collaging, was a totally new way to think about it, and it's definitely something that I'm going to be doing a lot more of.